Okay, so as you've heard in the video, the WIDA ELD Standards Framework provides a foundation for curriculum, instruction, and assessment for multilingual learners in grades K through 12. It is centered on equity and fosters the assets, contribution, and potentials of multilingual learner. What are some other important ideas that you heard in the video? You can pause the video and jot down your notes on the sticky note. Okay, so we have copies of the WIDA English Language Development Standards Manual for you. So if you have not received your copy, make sure you see True or Shelley to get your copy today. If you have attended an ML program ESOL bootcamp, you might also have received a copy. Please feel free to bring your copy if you have one, or you can also access it on the PDF version through the Padlet at the beginning of the presentation. Right. We want to ensure that each stakeholder is aware of their role and responsibilities as outlined in the WIDA ELD Standard Framework prior to the 2025-2026 school year, when the access tests will be completely updated to reflect the new standards. WIDA has already begun testing field items and will continue to do so for the 2024 and 2025 administration of access. All teachers of multilingual learners need to be trained on the WIDA ELD Standards Framework according to our GCPS rollout plan to ensure that everyone is aware of what high-quality standards-based instruction looks like for our multilingual learners by the time the new access tests will be administered. Okay, so again, the WIDA ELD Standards Framework is centered on equity and fosters the assets, contribution, and potential of multilingual learners. It is a description of clear and measurable goals for language learning. So if you have your manual, you can turn to page 35 of the manual, or you can access the PDF online version through the Padlet. On page 35, WIDA details what the ELD Standards Framework is and is not. Go ahead and take a look at that closely, or you can read it on the screen here. And then think about what is something that stands out to you. You can pause the video, and then you can jot down your notes at this point. The ELD Standard Framework takes into account the many stakeholders that are involved in the educational of multilingual learners, and it outlines specific responsibilities for each. On page 13 and 14, you will see some potential uses of the WIDA ELD Standards Framework for each stakeholder. For teachers, we have a huge responsibilities to collaborate with colleagues around integration of content and language, partner to coordinate learning for multilingual learners, model products, projects, and performances to illustrate evidence of meeting learning expectations, monitor multilingual learners' language growth, and provide standards reference feedback to students and family. The WIDA ELD Standards Framework Manual is organized into 5 sections: the big idea, understanding the WIDA ELD Standard Framework, grade level cluster, materials, resources, and appendices. Our work today is largely from section 1, big ideas. GCPS's blueprint for the future and WIDA's big idea go hand in hand, as they are both rooted in equity and a commitment to supporting high-quality education for multilingual learners. In a minute, we're going to take a deep dive into WIDA 4 big ideas: equity of opportunity and access, integration of content and language, collaboration among stakeholders, functional approach to language development. To provide equitable access to high-quality, rigorous instruction for multilingual learners, we must integrate content and language. This means that we are teaching content and language simultaneously with academic content as a context for language learning and language as a means for learning academic content. To seamlessly integrate content and language, we take a functional approach to language development, identifying the purpose of the language of schooling and explicitly teaching how language works so that MLs can expand what they can do with language. And to make it all work, we collaborate. Language development becomes all of our responsibility. ESOL teachers, classroom content teachers, building leaders, and district leaders.